Hey, good evening. It's Wednesday, December 2nd, Wednesday evening. Thanks so much for being here. We talked about pleasant words this morning and the power they have. And we tend not to trust God in areas where we're frustrated and life is difficult. So we think we have to have some sort of a strong response. But you see, the things that God calls strong, we call weak. And the things that we call strong, he actually says that's weakness. Because you see, our anger, our frustration, our upset, our drive to make things right, that's when we're trying to do things in our own strength. And that's when we're actually very weak, even though we may exert a lot of energy. One of the reasons that not trusting God drains us of everything is because we're fighting, but we're not fighting with His strength. We're not fighting with the weapons of the Spirit. We're fighting with the weapons of our flesh. And when we use the weapons of our flesh, we drain ourselves. Let me move this out of the theoretical right into the practical. James reminds us very strongly, and he quotes the Proverbs on this in chapter 3. In this section where he's talking about where do problems come from, where do our quarrels and fights come from, he says, God opposes the proud, but he gives grace to the humble. A proud person is someone who does things the way that we think it should be done. A humble person is someone who does things the way that God says it should be done. He trusts God's ways. A proud person engages in the weapons of this world and he engages wisdom from below. But a humble person engages wisdom from above. James 3:17 tells us what that wisdom from above looks like. It means that a person is pure, that they're peace-loving, that they're considerate, or in translation that I think is even more helpful, that we're open to reason, that we're full of mercy and good fruit, that we're impartial and sincere. See, these are the signs of someone who is humble. We speak words that are pleasant when we're frustrated. That soothes our hearts. When I speak words that are trying to make my point, when I'm in combat mode, see, that's proud. And God opposes that. This language in James 4 is strong. God opposes the proud, but he gives grace to the humble. He resists our attempts to take control. We don't humble ourselves. We don't trust him. And we're desperate. We don't trust him. And God is calling us to trust him. His weapons, the fruit of the Spirit, love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. Those define humility. Because none of those things are common to me, but they are the fruit of the Spirit. They're the wonderful bounty of the Spirit. Humility, doing things God's way. That's where our hope is. That's where our peace is. In this time of year, be engaged in humility. Know God's ways. Trust pleasant words. Trust the power of gentleness. God opposes the proud, but he gives grace to the humble. Those that want to hear him and walk in the way of wisdom. And that's the thought for this night. Lord, give you a good night of rest, thinking about the beauty of humility. And Lord willing, we'll see you in the morning. You have a great evening. Good night.